Hello and welcome back to another edition of Get Outside St. Tammany, a show dedicated to all things outdoors in St. Tammany Parish. I'm your host, Davis Brister, and joining us to start this program is Eric Shanks with the Department of Wildlife and Fisheries. We're always glad to have the department on, and this is your first time, you said.
Yeah, this is my first time here in St. Tammany Parish on this program. Appreciate y'all having us and talking with us.
Awesome.
Happy to be here.
Awesome. Tell us what you do at the department.
Well, I am the program manager over the Office of Wildlife Education program, which deals primarily with hunting ed and the shooting sports across the state.
I would assume you have an important job.
I'd like to think so. Yeah, I'd like to think so. You know, anytime you're teaching safety and for students, whether they're youths or adults, you know, you feel like you're making a difference and helping people practice the sports they love while doing it safely. So it makes you feel good at the end of the day.
Got it. Well, tell us broadly, let's get into that. What is hunter education? What's the format?
So a lot of people think that hunter education focuses primarily on firearms, which is a very important component of our hunter education program. But the class actually teaches much more than that. It goes into wildlife management and conservation, wildlife identification, general outdoor safety, and boating safety. All of those kinds of things that, especially in Louisiana, with the multiple outdoor opportunities we have, that situations you might find yourself in. And we try to teach people kind of how to be prepared for those situations, what to think about.
So this is more than just hunter education, is what you're saying.
Well, yeah, it's all hunter education. That's kind of our funding source.
It's not just hunters.
It's not just firearms, and it's not just gun safety. That's a critical component, but it's not the only thing.
Why is conservation important in relation to hunting? And that may be a loaded question, but how does that all go?
No, actually, that's a great question. So what a lot of people don't realize is that under the North American model of wildlife management, hunters are the primary funding source for example, my department. So when you buy a hunting or a fishing license, that is what funds that's the state dollars that come into the department's coffers for habitat management and enforcement and habitat restoration and those kinds of things. And then we're able to take those dollars and match them with federal grant monies, which are also generated from excise taxes on sporting goods and hunting equipment and fishing equipment. And so the hunters are paying for a license on the state side, and they're also paying the excise taxes on the hunting equipment they use. And that all goes right back into the sport that they love. And so basically it's a user plays, user pays kind of model.
Is there a good example of how those two go hand in hand? What might a hunter not be aware of from a wildlife standpoint they don't see, they just take for granted that you guys can take that money and work on?
One of the things that we have here in Louisiana that a lot of hunters either aren't aware of or don't take advantage of are our public lands. We have a tremendous amount of public land available for hunters to use at a very reasonable cost. For example, our wildlife management areas. And again, those areas are staffed, maintained, a lot of times purchased with those funds that we were just talking about. And basically, it's available for you or your family or whomever if you buy the appropriate licenses and permits to go and utilize those areas to go hunting. And so you don't have to have a $5,000 deer lease to be able to go hunting in Louisiana. You have that public land opportunity available to you at a very reasonable cost. It's a $15 WMA permit in addition to your normal licenses.
Not bad at all. So do hunters have to take the course? Is it a requirement?
Well, we recommend that all hunters take the course, obviously.
Strongly encouraged.
Strongly encouraged, whether you have to or not. But they're basically any hunter that needs to buy a license to go hunting is required to take hunter education in order to get that license, but there's some exceptions. And for example, if you're born before 1969, you're not required to have hunter education in the state of Louisiana. If you're over or if you're under 16, you can go hunting without a license with direct supervision of someone who is licensed and has taken the course. You can also buy a license if you're over 16. So where you would normally be required to have the hunter education to buy a license, we have what's called a restricted license. And so, for example, if you haven't taken hunter education and you want to come hunting with me, We could go to the duck blind together. You could buy an appropriate license, but it would have a restriction on there that you have to hunt under direct supervision. So you'd have to hunt with me.
Yeah.
And so that enables people that maybe have an interest and get invited to go, to be able to go and participate in a hunt without having necessarily taken the course, but they have to be with someone who has. And then also our military, active military and veterans, as well as our post-certified law enforcement officers, there's a military exemption for them that they can get through our office, their headquarters office in Baton Rouge.
That makes sense. Walk me through a little bit. So I'm signed up, I show up, what would I expect in terms of I get there and how long does this last? What do you go through, and be specific as you want. Take me through the agenda. Is it a day or is it a week or?
Well, we have two different formats. We have our traditional classroom format, and then we also have our online course with a field day. And so the traditional format, which is a classroom course, is 10 to 11 hours of total time generally.
Is that in one day, or do you?
No, not one day. It's generally, we try to split it up in evenings or else like an evening. A lot of times there'll be a Friday evening and then a Saturday, a long day on Saturday. And so what you would do is you're going to show up at the course on time, hopefully, and you'll meet your instructors, who, most of our instructors are actually volunteer instructors. They don't work directly for the department as far as paid staff. They're donating their time to be there because they love the sport of hunting and sharing their passion. But so they're going to be the instructors most of the time, and what they'll go over is again all things we talked about, from firearm safety through wildlife management, ethics, how to be a responsible hunter, because that's another facet that gets overlooked, is that sometimes hunting can have a bad reputation in certain circles. Which again, we're the ones that are the primary funding source for all the wildlife management in North America, and yet in some places it's not well understood. So we try to teach people how to be good, responsible stewards of their wildlife resources.
What's an example of being irresponsible? Maybe I don't know I'm being irresponsible, but I am. What do you see out there that?
Well, I talked about those public lands a minute ago. That's where I typically hunt, and I see litter a lot. They're just off the top of my head, but
that's irresponsible anyway.
Yeah, it's irresponsible anyway. But here's a public land opportunity that is available, and people trash it up. Respecting landowner rights and respecting those boundary lines for your property versus somebody else's property, and then also the game laws. It's not just necessarily a violation of game laws, but it's unethical to take more than what's assigned or allotted for your limit and that kind of thing. So not only is it against the law, it's an unethical thing to do.
Right.
So the classroom format, again, it's usually going to be split over a couple of days, or maybe 3 days, and you'll go through all of that, start to finish. We have a live fire requirement in Louisiana, so you will shoot a firearm in order to pass the course, whether it's a shotgun, a rifle, or an air rifle, depends on where the class is being taught, what's available, but you will shoot a firearm so that we can see you handle it and handle it safely, and that's pretty much it for the classroom course. Long hours, but a lot of good information. And we typically recommend the classroom format for our younger students, the 10 to 14 in that age range. We also have our online course, and that's through an outside vendor, so there's a fee associated with that that they collect. But basically, you're able to take the course and cover the same course material. It's identical to our classroom course material. Cover the same material at your own pace at home from the comfort of your computer, or your iPad for that matter. You don't have to do it. A lot of students now take it on their iPad and their iPhone. But once you complete that online course, you'll take a test online, and then you'll get a voucher that says you've completed the online course. You then take that voucher, go to our website, LD.
We know it.
Yeah, I was going to say.
It'll be on the screen.
Okay, well, good.
Or Google it. No.
Yeah, WLF.gov. But basically, you take that voucher that shows you completed the online course, and you'll go to our website and schedule what's called a field day course. And that's where kind of cover again the highlights of the online course and do a lot more hands-on kind of exercises, as well as take the test again, because we want to be sure that it was the actual student that got the knowledge and not necessarily their parents who maybe took the test for them online, but just as a double check to make sure that everybody has the information that they need to have and has absorbed that information. But that is a requirement. If you take the online course, you do have to take the field day in order to receive your certification.
You got any facts and figures as to whether or not this has reduced, hunting-related accidents, or what do y'all see out there?
Well, we've been tracking incidents since 1981 in Louisiana, and there are two kind of major reductions. There's been an overall downward trend in our hunting incidents, and it's important that we call them incidents and not accidents, because accident implies that it's beyond someone's control. Almost all, 99.9% of the incidents that occur while hunting where somebody gets hurt were preventable if somebody would have just followed good safety procedures. But at any rate, so the reduction, there was a significant reduction a couple years after the implementation of mandatory hunter education in Louisiana. And then the other big one was the implementation of mandatory hunter orange while deer hunting. And that's also part of our hunter education program, is teaching people when and how to wear hunter orange and what a difference it makes.
Gotcha. You almost answered the question I was going to ask, is how long has hunter education been around? I know you said you had been at the department 18 years, involved with this for 3.5. Has education evolved with time?
Absolutely, absolutely.
That
It started back in, if I'm not mistaken, in the 60s, and it was a 3-hour course taught primarily by the NRA. And I think the NRA, even before that, kind of developed the hunter education program. The federal funding for it and the program really started taking off as far as Department of Wildlife and Fisheries here in Louisiana in the 70s. And then where we've really kind of trying to, I guess the format and what we cover has changed.
Yeah.
It's again a wide course. It's a long course at 10 hours, but also trying to use technology, again, that online course and component, trying to make it convenient for people to be able to take the course and yet still get the information that they need and get the messaging that we're trying to get out there.
Okay. To register, people just go to the website?
Go to the website, yes. That's all of our courses are listed on our website under our hunter education page. Click that link and it will take you. You can register either for the full classroom course or the field day in your area, and it'll give you an option for within so many miles of your zip code and that kind of thing.
And when? Is there a particular good time to do this?
Well,
obviously hunting season.
Right, and that's one thing that I do try to preach to people is don't wait until the last minute to try and, don't wait until Friday before hunting season opens to say, hey, I need to go get my hunter education, because chances are, even if there's classes available, they're going to be full. Right. So highly recommend that, like students that are out of school right now start looking for their courses now and that kind of thing between now and hunting season. And basically any time is a good time, but we do offer more courses typically in the fall to meet that demand, because that's when people are looking to take the courses. But we try to offer courses year-round all around the state, and if you're in need of a course, and you can contact your local LDWF education coordinator, and they'll at least take note of when and where you need it, and hopefully try to find. We do have a requirement that a course have at least 10 students registered for us to be able to hold it.
Got it.
So if we don't have enough interest in attendance, then we actually can't hold the course.
Awesome. Eric, thanks for coming and educating us on hunter education. We look forward to seeing you
Nice
again.
meeting you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
As well, and we'll see you right back after this break.
Be safe to keep your distance until
No secret that makes you smile.
reliable sources say that chicken soup has found their way out of this dangerous, but they are returning.
Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. discovertheforest.org.
Welcome back. And we are joined now by the City of Slidell Parks and Recreation Director, and I hope I got that right, Kevin. Kevin Walcott. You can correct me if I'm wrong.
That's correct. You got it right.
Good deal. And you are here to talk about Parks and Recreation in Slidell, and just looking at the list of parks that are, as we were talking about off camera, there's a bunch of parks in Slidell, but mainly a handful that are available to the public, which is enough. You've got a lot of parks.
Correct. Yeah, we have over 33 parks in the city of Slidell. That averages out to about 440 acres of parks that we have to maintain. Some of that's wooded areas that we don't have to really get to, but we all these other parks, we rent those out for different special events, birthday parties.
Right.
The smaller neighborhood parks, we don't rent those. We try to keep those, for the neighbors to use,
right.
for the neighborhood to use.
The neighbors probably like that.
Absolutely, yeah. They don't like too much traffic coming through there. So
I don't blame them.
And we have enough parks to go around to where most subdivisions have them, so they don't have to leave their actual subdivision to go to another one.
I would think a lot of people, especially parents, have been to a lot of these parks for sporting events and whatnot. But let's start with one of the more well-known parks, was Heritage Park. There's a lot going on there. Why don't we get into some of the specifics of what some of these parks are?
Yeah, definitely. Heritage Park is our most used park. It's right there off of Bayou Bonfica, right behind the train station. We just recently put about a $1.5 million marina out there. So with that came with a new bulkhead, and the bulkhead originally was damaged by Hurricane Katrina. So in return, we got not only a good bulkhead, but a nice marina as well. We redid the playground out there. We put about $250,000 into the playground equipment, so we went from wooden equipment to metal and steel, so it'll last a little bit longer. We have new bathrooms out there as well, and we are in the process of repainting that whole park. We got to get some bids out, but so we're working on getting everything done out there. That's where we do all of our festivals, our concerts.
July 4th was just there, right?
Yes,
I hate to mention that. It was a month ago.
Correct, yeah. The Heritage Festival was there last month, and it was a great turnout until the last hour. We had some bad weather come through, but for the most part, it was a good turnout.
Are there any good fall festivals that are there people ought to know about?
We do. We have the Craft Fest coming up. That's September 12th or September 14th through the 16th. That's going to be out there. That's a 2-day event. And then we also have Bayou Jams, which is a city-sponsored concert that they do on Sundays from 5:30 to 7:30.
When is that ongoing? Or?
It's ongoing, yeah. We try to do about 3 to 4 in the fall, and then about 5 in the springtime. And that's actually put on by the Department of Cultural Arts, but we work hand in hand with Alex and his crew to get the park ready and good to go. And it's a free concert, open to the public. We don't charge anything. We do have some vendors out there for concessions, but yeah, it's a free event for the public to use.
You can walk and jog there as well. What about that? How long is it? I know it's open all day.
Yeah, we keep it open. We have a lot of walkers that get there early in the morning before the heat, and so we have 2 different sections. We have a middle section that's probably about 1/10 of a mile, and then the outside section's about about 1/5 of a mile. So
Gotcha.
And we get walkers regularly from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m.
Is the marina for a variety of you? Can you fish out of there? Is this just a boat launch?
It's really just a boat launch. Now we do have some. You can stay up to 14 nights in different areas of the boat launch, but we also have a day use as well.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't encourage any type of swimming. Fishing, we recommend you try not to fish there because
there's other places.
There's other places inside of it. But look, we do have people that fish out there, and as long as they're not really making too much issues, we let them do it. But yeah, it's a brand new. We have a new pier that takes you all the way from the boat launch to Palmettos. So we added that.
That's going to bring a whole new attraction of people, I would assume.
Yeah, we're hoping, yeah, and especially if we get the a pedestrian crosswalk to Old Town Slidell, that will definitely help as well. So.
Got it. No, that's nice. Splash pad. I'm looking at all the things that Heritage Park. So you got it all. Walking, splashing. Do you have people who walk who go get in the splash pad?
Well, a lot of times the splash pads there are just for the children. The parents will let them do it. But look, I'm gonna tell you, as hot as it's been, I wouldn't be surprised to see some adults taking advantage of it.
Here.
Absolutely. We might have just give people ideas to after they
I'll
get.
I'll take
to work
credit
out.
if you get back.
Absolutely, man.
Walking and jumping in the splash pad.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to John Slidell Park, and one of the unique things here I see is you actually have an indoor gymnasium.
We do. We have a full-size basketball court in there. We use that. During the day use, Monday through Friday, we have what's called pickleball, and pickleball is very popular right now. We will get anywhere from 20 to 30 people in there playing a day from about 9 a.m. to about 1 p.m. And then we kind of clean the gym and transition to youth sports after that. Like we have youth volleyball coming up right now. We're finishing up our youth basketball league, which is actually run by the Slidell Youth Basketball Association. We don't run those organizations. We kind of just give them facility and financial assistance.
Yeah.
But that's what that gym is used for. That and Fritchie Gym as well is used for the youth sports at night.
Are youth sports primarily done out of this park or this in Fritchie, or is it all of them?
Well, it's all of them. It's all the ones, all of our major parks, like Fritchie, Ducksworth, Heritage, Possum Hollow. Heritage we try to keep the sports teams away from because that's more of a, kind of a walking area, right. And the infield's not really made for sports. But the rest of our parks are inundated with youth sports, especially football's started up this week. So every little speck of land that we have in Slidell right now, it's being used by football.
Yeah. Anything else about John Slidell that people may experience that would be unique or different from these other parks?
Yeah, we have a walking trail there. That's about a 2-mile round trip walking trail. It takes you from pretty much the playground area of John Slidell along the wooded path, kind of run parallel with the interstate. It takes you to Kensington Estates, and then you could come back to John Slidell. So it's about a 2-mile round trip.
Do people use one park over another as far as walking? I mean, I hate for you to have to promote one park over the other, but
yeah, I mean, I would say Heritage is our most used as far as because you do have everything centrally located right there. You have bathrooms, you have water fountains. It's all. Whereas John Slidell Park, it's a lot of nature.
Yeah,
It's a lot
so it depends on what you're looking for.
It does. And I will say about John Slidell too, we're in the process of finalizing our 100% design phase for new lighting out there.
Yeah.
So we're looking at well over $1 million to redo all the lighting, going concrete poles, LED, and with that, we're hoping to get some more tournaments out there as well. We have four nice skinned baseball fields, and the lighting's just what's holding us up right now to get everything up and running and get tournaments back out there.
Awesome. Fritchie, I think again that's. I don't know, that name always seems to be around. And then I've told you, I've been there for some soccer tournaments. I know you get a lot of that there. What else do you get at Fritchie?
We do the Wild Game Cook-Off every year out there, which is it was Mayor Drennan's and Chief Fandel's Wild Game Cook-Off. We do that in the fall as well. We also have the Crawfish Cook-Off, which is put on by the hospice. And so those are 2 big events that we have out there. We also have the gymnasium out there is 2 full-size courts. It's got an indoor walking trail or indoor walking track. That's about 1/10 of a mile as well. And that gym is used really heavily by the youth sports as well.
Yeah.
We do have 3 baseball fields out there. We don't do tournaments right now because we're in the process of having to redo lighting on one of the ball fields, but we do a lot of practices.
Yeah.
And teams are out there, Monday through, now 7 days a week, pretty much practicing.
Yeah. Do you have to rent?
We do. We have some rental fees, like Fritchie Park. It's a $25 rental fee for 4 hours. Now there are some other stipulations that can increase the fees depending on what type of event you're doing out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, we do a lot of birthday parties, company picnics, and I will say too, Fritchie, we're in the process of adding a disc golf course. Right now we have about 9 holes complete. We're going to try to finish the other 9 this winter time when things cool off and the snakes aren't running around. And so we are adding to that, and we have a dog park that was recently added a couple years ago.
Got it.
So it's about a 3-acre dog
I know
park.
all that's popular as well.
Yes, definitely. Oh yeah.
Possum Hollow. Tell us about Possum
Hollow. That's really that's another park that's heavily used on the weekends. It's heavily used by we rent that out as well. A lot of Mardi Gras groups use it. A lot of church groups use it. We just finished a outdoor basketball court out there. So that's basically it's open, sun up to sundown. We have a big field that we put 3, 4, 5 teams at one time practicing out there. So 2 pavilions. We only rent 1 pavilion out there. We have bathrooms. Our youth flag football does, that's where they do their leagues at on Saturdays.
So you really can honestly almost say each one of these parks, you do utilize, there's some similarities, but there's something unique about each one of these.
There is.
Different.
There is, yeah, there's definitely, we try to, you don't want to have the same things at each park. So you try to have, like Possum Hollow has the basketball court, Heritage has the marina.
Yeah.
John Slidell has a walking trail and baseball field. So yeah, it's different, depending on what you're looking for, we should have it for you.
Yep. All right, let's keep going. Griffith Park.
Griffith Park is a little smaller park that's kind of located near City Hall by the auditorium. That's where we do our Christmas Under the Stars each year. That is put on by the city. Absolutely, yeah. And you know, it's one of our, it's used day use. People come and do a little picnic, have a little bite to eat. It's nice and shaded. We don't rent that out. That's just for, you know, people to come in and enjoy it. We have a couple of swing sets out there. Nothing too major. We try, anybody that wants to come utilize the playground, we try to put them in a different location.
Got it. Ducksworth Park. We got a playground there.
We have a playground there. We have we have about 22 playgrounds total in Slidell. So yeah, we do have a playground there.
Nobody can complain about the playground.
No, I think, you know, look, I know Mayor Cromer's big thing is quality of life, as with the previous mayors, and so you know, as long as we give the public something to do, there's always something out there for them. But Ducksworth Park has a playground. We have a baseball field out there. We don't have lighting as of yet. We had some issues with the original lighting that was out there.
Yeah.
We do have a basketball court there as well, and bathrooms. So, and it's a pretty big park. You know, there's some work that needs to be done to it, just like with a lot of our parks. But yeah, it's used a lot by the community.
Awesome. And finally, we'll get into, before we wrap this up, into Veterans Park, and I think the uniqueness there. You got a bunch of tennis courts, right?
Yeah, Veterans Park's kind of, it's weird how it's set up. Veterans Park is, you know, there's a section of it that's just donated, you know, dedicated for the veterans. It's got a brand new monument that we put out there. We have a pergola, so we kind of enhanced that area. And then you have the tennis courts that's kind of right next to it. We just recently put some LED lighting out there. Our long-term goal would be obviously to resurface those courts because they're old, and it's heavily used as well. And then we also have a baseball field that a lot of teams utilize during their seasons. We just built 2 new dugouts, put a new backstop up, have a new restroom out there. You know, that was heavily damaged from Hurricane Katrina, and it just took us a little while to get that back up and running. But yeah, Veterans Park is kind of lumped in with the tennis courts and the baseball field.
Okay, this is a lot of information, a lot of parks. How does someone go? I'm sure you've got a website or something where people can go look at all the parks and maybe all the events that come with those.
Yeah, myslidell.com is our website, or they can even call our office at 985-646-4371. You know, we're there Monday through Friday, 7 to 4 o'clock, and I'm there to answer any questions.
Anything else related to any of the parks that you might want to add in closing?
No, we just, you know, our main goal is keeping up with these parks. You know, we have 33 parks, and I have a staff of 11 full-time employees, and 3 of us are office personnel. So I really have 8 guys and gals that take care of these parks.
One for every 4 parks.
Yeah, and we do have some, you know, we do have some part-time salaries that can help us supplement these parks, and we also work hand in hand with Keep Slidell Beautiful. Mr. Bill Mauser helps us, you know, take care of these parks. But yeah, it's just the main thing is staying on top of them, especially now during the summertime with the rain, and then, you know, we have rain, you have ants, and, you know, and so we have to treat the ants and cut the grass and get them ready for the youth to play.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kevin, for joining us, and thank you for joining us in another edition of Get Outside St. Tammany. We hope you will get outside in this beautiful parish. We'll see you next time.